My name is Shane Burke. I'm working with the Jesuit Refugee Service in East Africa. I have been recruited there through the Volunteer Mission Movement, VMM. They recruit trained people for different partners across Africa mainly. With JRS at the moment, one of our focus countries is South Sudan, and it's largely based on the current crisis that's taking place there. Our biggest location where we work is Maban, which is in the north of South Sudan, close to the Sudan border. Almost all of the refugees in the camps in Maban are Sudanese, so they're Muslims. It's a focus of JRS to assist anybody that has been displaced. In this camp and within South Sudan, it's an interesting context because we talk about the forcibly displaced, and JRS work with refugees, that is people who have been displaced from another country into South Sudan. We work with internally displaced, that is people that have been moved even from 5 kilometers away. They now have been moved from there and they've come for refuge closer to the town. So this is internally displaced. And we also then work with the host community. And this is becoming a big issue for a lot of organizations, especially organizations that have the word refugee in their name, because it implies that their donors and their partners expect them to work with refugees. However, when this occurs, the refugees end up getting more services than the local people, and then it causes internal conflict between host community and refugees. So now there's a big focus on organizations that can, based on their mandates and so on, that can work with host community as well. So we're doing projects with all of the 3 groups: host, refugee and IDP in Maban. We do a lot of psychosocial care, we do a lot of teacher training, and we run early childhood development school for the local community. In one of the camps, it's called Doro Camp, we do a lot of psychosocial care and counselling and outreach services. So we have a centre where people can come. And just to mention, JRS do very much focus on the most vulnerable people. We can say all are very vulnerable in the context, but within refugee camps there are special needs cases, there are people with disability, and we often, first of all, can only imagine how they got from a country in conflict to the camp, but then how to survive within a camp context. So JRS visit a lot of these homes where there's old people who are ill, where there are old people or young people with disability, children with cerebral palsy, and bring especially young mothers with these children, bring them to our daycare centre where they can come, and we have experts to show them how to do physiotherapy, to help themselves back at home and make their life better for the child. And it's had a huge impact on the attitude and the confidence of especially young mothers who didn't know what to do in this scenario. So that's been a very positive aspect of the program. Then we do a teacher training college, which is also working very well in that the teachers do their training in schools all around the area, and then they come back and then they continue with their training, and it's been working very well also. However, the challenges in this area the main challenge is the ongoing conflicts, both taking place nationally in the country of South Sudan, but also conflicts taking place in the refugee camps themselves between different South Sudanese tribes and refugees and host. These challenges most recently have occurred in Doro Camp, and when this happens, often we find that we won't get any of the trainee teachers coming to the training college for a week. For their own safety, they either have moved off quickly, come back and then they'll return, or they just stay at home. So this is quite common. Also in Maban, we work with the internally displaced. This sometimes can be a challenging issue because internally displaced implies that they've been put out of their home briefly and they should return to their home. This would be the model. However, if we set up a lot of services for them in their internal displacement, they won't return home. So it's a tricky situation. So we have temporary learning space. So we have constructed a temporary school. It's not a stone structure. And the idea is that when things settle down in their home area, that they can return. But we are finding more and more that even the temporary learning space is attracting huge amounts of people, both those that are internally displaced and the local community. So we're getting a lot of people in those schools also. The schools are running well, but it's not always the ideal situation because you have to then make a decision: should we make it more permanent? But by doing that, we're definitely making a decision that these people may not return home. So, that's a challenge, and that's it from Maban.